hit it.
Okay.
So I actually think the subject of art in the Soviet Union is really interesting because people forget this now, like a lot of Soviet history. But as somebody who is pretty into film, I know all about this. The Soviet filmmaking industry was like incredible. Do you know anything
Oh
about this?
yeah, I've heard that it was very successful. I haven't
I
heard
have
like
heard.
specific stories and stuff.
Let me tell you what really made it so cool is that the Soviet filmmaking industry, like it was keeping up with the American filmmaking industry for a good while, and then as the Soviets just became obsessed with doing nothing but building bombs to try to like preserve their like increasingly fucked up system, things like that fell by the wayside, right? But in the early days of the Soviet Union, the Soviet filmmaking industry was one of the best in the world. And this is something that a lot of people, like I say, don't know. But what was so cool about it is that because it was socialized, anyone could become a filmmaker. There wasn't this necessity to jump through like hoops of aristocracy just to have a chance at being a part of that industry. It was very easy to get involved with. So I think it's interesting to talk about like art in a socialized society because I think that there's all kinds of benefit to artists.
Yeah. As Stalin said, I mean, he did say this though. Art is the engineer of the human soul, man. You know, however you feel about Stalin.
In your ideal political system, without even worrying about resources and just giving your real opinions, how much should art be subsidized by the government? Should we all get a GoPro if we want one? Should we all get the apps if we want them? Should we all get a mic if we want? Or should, to some level, should that be like, you've got your own discretionary spending in your life, buddy, and your bad podcasts are really your own responsibility, and that should be left up to the free market?
Go ahead, Kennedy.
I would say maybe a little of both, because I would think that in my ideal society, if somebody wanted to like just start a small business or artistic or creative project on their own, that they would just be given the resources to do that at, at like a small scale, just period. Like if you just want like, like $1,000 worth of shit to like start your own podcast, like in my ideal society, you should just get that. Like there's plenty of resources out there to provide people with shit. And like
I am passing a law. I am demanding Blue Yeti microphones for all.
Nah, it's just gonna be
for all. GoPros
like
for
all.
It's
not
gonna
for
be
all,
like
but
a
like
shed with like a community tool shed,
or maybe a
library.
The library. The library gets some GoPros, and you can go in and rent a GoPro from the library. Go make some content, and at the end of 2 days, you got to go back to the library, give them the GoPro back, and if you break it, that's on you. You got to get that together.
Nah, even if you break it, the government just provides another one.
Yeah, they just pay for another one.
They just pay for another one.
Did you know actually a lot of book libraries are going fineless?
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Like my friend works at a library that just went fineless, and he said it's working great. It
doesn't make any real difference.
It doesn't make any real difference other than that they're not harassing people that don't need it. That's somebody who can't afford a library fine. Like doesn't need to be fucking have their balls busted. Like they're already doing bad enough, probably. Right? Like
you're also subsidizing for the running of that library, which therefore means that you're subsidizing you being fined for turning a book in late. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where the systems don't pay for itself. It's like the bus fares here in Albuquerque. We have the same problem. Bus fares don't pay for themselves because you have to have machines that collect those fares, and you have to have accountants that tabulate those fares and blah, blah, blah. That shit doesn't pay for itself. It's the same thing with library fines. That shit doesn't pay for itself. Paying for somebody to like actually spend the time calling patrons, hey, your overdue book, that doesn't pay for itself.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And people don't give shit back to libraries because they're afraid of the fine. They get shit from libraries because they wanted to try a thing out.
Exactly.
It's funny how we talk about piracy as if it's this big problem. Piracy came out, and I do have this rant that people are spoiled who use Netflix, and they feel like all the content in history of the world should be at your fingertips for like $12 a month. Making art is expensive. I appreciate all that, but it just shows statistically there is a point where people will say, "I would rather pay to just buy something than, you know, jump through the hoops that come with borrowing it and getting it for free.
Mm.
So even if you have something like a rental system for GoPros, people would still buy GoPros.
Totally.
You know, it's
Yeah.
just an opportunity for you to use something and have it as a presence in your life. And also think about like education, books as something that you can have as a presence in your life, no matter what your poverty level is. And now we're in like a totally different economy in terms of the tech savvy that you need in order to do stuff. I don't think it's unreasonable for stuff like computers that are tools to just be around and be available as you're a kid growing up, so you can just have basic familiarity with the shit.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, man. And I feel like if you do want to purchase it yourself, again, like it should be like a regulated market in which, you know, all things being sold, I guess, are you know, tested and just regulated for good use. And maybe the government even subsidizes your purchase of that thing if it's something that's your passion and that you want to do, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it, you know, it just depends on what kind of situation we're looking at. But like, I mean, a lot of people are talking about some type of universal basic income these days, right?
Yeah.
Like a program like that, if done correctly, could subsidize the ability of people to do more interesting things just by itself. And that's a very crummy program. So I think it's really easy to imagine like better, you know, that like in my ideal society, like it would be really easy to provide people with the tools. Because again, the tools are not that expensive. Most people are limited from doing the things that they want by very small amounts of money in this country at this point. Most of the people that I know are not like, they're not like, I can't accomplish my dreams because I'm missing $50,000. They're like, I can't accomplish my dreams because I'm missing $500.
That's
right?
so fucking raw. That's so real. I have nothing else to like the average person, unless they're having a medical problem. Like they're like, man, I need $50,000 just so that I can get this medicine or have this surgery or just something related to my body to keep my organs functioning. But sort of that, like, what are the things that you feel like you need for have an investment in my business or to have a new truck? They're just like, well, I would like to have help getting my rent. Or even if it's something frivolous, they want to leave the country or they want to get a down payment on a vehicle or something like that. They want to buy a car. It's nothing serious like that.
But even more so, just back to our original topic of like creators and stuff, right? Like somebody who's out there who right now wants to make a podcast and literally cannot, what are they missing? Like a $300 laptop, a $50 microphone, right? Like
we know this because we have had problems putting the money together to do this shit right here. So
in the early days of this show, I sent Brandon and Leia webcams that I had that were not like fancy or anything, just because like they needed cameras and it was the only thing. Like I had these really cheap webcams, and you know, like we're just passing these cheap ass tools around trying to make the show happen, you know?
My producer just actually bought two mics, two Blue Yeti mics or whatever from Target. So yeah, man, we got to make an expense for that. So this is not a cheap endeavor.
I was fortunate to already have like an expensive microphone, like when I started, because I was doing something like this for work. So I needed like to have a good microphone. But also, like the week that I started my podcast, one of my computers died. Like,
Jesus, man.
And we were literally trying to edit the first episode, and I was running around with my damn hair on fire. I can't believe my shit broke down right when I'm trying to start a project like this. And yeah, it's small amounts of money that just cause ridiculous setbacks and keep shit from getting out.
Well, because like Aaron's saying, he was, you know, you're talking about getting these mics and you're like, that's not a small amount of money. And then we're saying, but it's both, right? Because like if you're poor, $500 is a huge fucking deal, right? Like an extra $500 in a month for me is like the difference between me like just living real simple and the difference between me actually being super fucking comfortable and having everything I want basically in a month. Okay? Like that's what we're talking about. So
for people that are watching, maybe some watching, take comments. So if you are wherever you're watching us, if you're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, you can leave like literally a comment in the chat just talking about where you are in terms of that small amount of money that can solve a problem in your
Yeah,
life.
what-
And we'll hang out, talk
if
about
you're
it.
out there, you got a project that's like a couple $100 away. I'm not promising to help because I'm poor
No,
myself, but like, let's hear about it and talk about it, right? Like, and like
Yeah.
talk about how we can fix these things. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'll give you a retweet, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
retweets are currency. They're social currency.
They're a social capital indeed. Yeah, I just want to say it is very expensive to be poor. You know,
Yes.
it's very expensive to be poor.
Yeah.
Just in terms of repairs, the amount of things that, like, when something breaks,
Yeah.
version of the thing to replace the thing you had. So, and in fact, this is actually a story that also happened to me during the era of the podcast. Like, because my computer broke, and I remember the one that I replaced it with. I got like one that was like a real hood computer from a pawn shop, and that shit broke down like a month and a half, 2 months later. I was like, no. So, and now I went and bought a new computer, and it was like a custom joint with a case and a light and da 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 da. And it wasn't like a huge life-changing amount of money. It was just like having some money.
Yeah.
That's why you guys should, if you have it, you should become a patron of Not
Yo,
Safe Walks and the
let's go.
soon to be released Adipod. You can go to patreon.com/NSFWalks. And you
No, it's
can go
actually
to
not safe.
Oh, shit. Not safe. Kennedy, plug it.
It's just patreon.com/not safe. Because when I realized I could get that, just that, I was like, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's for sure. Like that little plot, that little slide into it kind of fit perfectly. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think, you know, in my ideal society, definitely like tool rental. I mean, tool rental libraries are something that I've seen people do in their communities. Before myself, where I used to live in North Carolina, they set up a tool rental library, and they had like everything up to like backhoes and like, you know, stuff that you could do like real work with, right? It was like this whole, it changed the entire community when they put in this tool library, because suddenly, you know, both like, you know, your neighbor who just needs to borrow a shovel for a few days so she can work on her flower garden is set, and like the farmer up the road who needs real tools is getting what they need too from this library, and nobody's paying shit because it's all subsidized by the community. Like,
yeah, man. It just baffles my mind that like people who rail against, you know, socialism or any sort of like communal like endeavors, right, are the same people. I know people say this a lot, but they're the same people who like go to the library or they support their local library, right? You know, the same people who support their local fire department, right? Their local post office. So it's just like, man, in these small scale ways, we are already cooperating.
Hey,
you know.
This is a weird transition, but there are maybe a few people in the chat who appreciate it. Where is a good place to go to get small loans for tools, especially if they are related to left-wing social causes? DSA.
Hey.
There you go.
And and it's true. You're organizing like a project, but like I've borrowed tools from the chapter like a couple of times, because it's a bunch of college kids. They get stuff and they have stuff lying around, and it's like they've got a speaker because they're doing a monthly thing. Now I don't know how much success you'll have getting your hands on that stuff, but it's stuff that's lying around, and there are people that are inclined to give it to you. Also, just doing things cooperatively. You know, you find 3 people that want to do it, and one of you guys has $20. That's not always the case. And Kennedy, you, me, and Leia, the OG3, riding into the general store with empty pockets. but still, generally, if you have a group project, you can find somebody that can slide in there and donate a little bit, or they own something that you can use. And I have a feeling I know who Lucky Ashtray is. So if I'm right, welcome to this buddy.
Speaking of, you know, the need for things to be perfectly accessible. Brandon's internet situation sucks, by the way.
I
For all y'all
know.
watching
This is
out
why we,
there,
this is why we
you're
need
wondering what
universal,
this is why we need a
fast,
better society.
fast internet broadband, yo.
I just moved, and so I don't have my wire connection plugged up. I'm on somebody else's Wi-Fi right now.
Oh,
So
word. Seizing the means.
yeah.
I feel you, bro.
Yeah. So it's okay. Oh, okay. I thought you were an Atlanta person, Ashtray. Well, either way, since I don't know you, this is my chance to get to know you. Hello, welcome to the movement, and thank you very much for your subscription.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just it frustrates. This shit frustrates me, honestly. Like this, just like these situations where like really like the shit that's separating people from having what they need is not that major at this point, and yet,
Yeah, batteries, SD cards. Those are both good examples.
Yeah.
Just small stuff. This is what makes you the radical left, by the way. When you're trying to marshal cans of spray paint and all this other stuff. Oh,
the being the radical left just means just doing group projects.
yeah, basically. The bigger the group, the more left you are.
Communism is when you have big group. The bigger the group, the more communist it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Just build a big ass group. That's what we're trying to do.
But yeah, I'm glad that, you know, Brandon, you brought up just like the power of group projects though too. This is like, this gets into like, this is like our stream from a month ago when I was like yelling about communal housing, right? Like in a way, because it's like this whole thing of group projects. How often do you see people that are like relatively left wing, but like won't start a co-op? Like they have something that they want to do, but they won't do it with someone else.
And it's a little more accessible than, you know, obviously we talk a lot about the importance of labor organizing all the time. Talk to your workers about, you know, people who work with you. But sometimes it's hard to form those bonds with arduous process that takes months. Now I'm worried.
Yeah, well, we got half of that.
We got half of that.
Okay. Unions can be hard. Working with strangers. Co-ops with friends already have bond with them.
Yeah.
Also, forming a union in a workplace that's going to actively resist it. Like a lot of people on Twitter that are like want to be ultra woke will be like, you know, you got to unionize your workplace. It's like, I got friends that work at like Target. They're not unionizing. You know, I have friends that work at places that are never, and even like below like the biggest corporations, just a lot of like, you know, like smallish corporations that employ like 100, 200 people. Trying to unionize that shit is not like a small feat. On the other hand, just starting your own thing that's a co-op from the ground up is a lot easier in terms of like you've all agreed to those politics up front, you know, and there's not like going to be like the same type of pushback.
Yeah, and I would say too that like two things. Unions in the United States still can have a lot of anti-socialist, anti-communist sentiment within the union, right? After decades of Cold War propaganda. And like, I don't know, man, fuck this dude. Like even so-called progressives like fucking Cenk Uygur from TYT, you know, who was against his employees unionizing. You know, I didn't want to call anybody out, but I think that's just kind of like reprehensible, right? So, you know, we got a lot of work to do in terms of lifting class consciousness among working people and having them see that, unions are a good thing. Co-ops are a good thing. Solidarity is great.
The worst part about some of those anti-unionization situations, I don't think Cenk necessarily knows that he's anti-union. Right?
That's a take.
Well, I mean, he says that he's, well, I mean, whether he knows, well, he consciously says that he supports unions, but once it comes to his own interest, private interest, it seems that there's some conflict there, right?
And so, but that's the thing, is like, this is like a typical situation, I think, with a lot of just like liberalish kind of stuff where like Cenk eventually like recognized that TYT could have a union and like supports the unionization movement that they're doing now,
Mm.
right? But like this is decades later, right? At this point, like,
really.
it's literally TYT has literally been around for like 15 years now, you know. And so like, you
well,
know,
months later, like really, because this was back in like March. This all was going on. You know what I mean?
right?
But you know, and like we were talking about Sam before. You know, Sam was making the argument that Chink would make, where Sam was saying that, well, you know, Majority Report, he could do certain things to make more money for himself, but he decides like not to, right? And that's also a very small project, right? Like, I think you can be, if we were talking about owning the means of production and then having, you know, exploiting people, frankly, to do your work for you, like, I think you could be a good person. I wouldn't say a good capitalist, but you could be a good person in that position and trying to do right by the people that work for you. But like TYT is like at this point a massive, you know, independent media network for what it is and the space that it occupies in progressive media. So it's like, I feel like, you know, I mean, that's maybe a discussion further in time, but there should be no reason why you wouldn't immediately jump at the opportunity to support your workers unionizing, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said it's pronounced Jenk. My bad.
Yes, apparently, Leslie. All
I
right.
trust Leslie's.
Oh, that's Leslie. Oh shit,
yeah.
I trust Leslie.
Leslie's on it with name pronunciation.
No, I'm not.
Right.
I try to be. I fail sometimes.
It's like Gravel versus Gravel.
I will always call them the Gravel Teens just because I think it's funnier. It's
That's a good
not
brand,
even because I don't know.
It is a good brand. And they ran with it with their Patreon because like the tiers are like names of rocks. Like you have Pebble, then you have like something else, then it's like Stone, and it's like, oh, you guys ran with the Gravel gang, man. I like that.
Yeah.
The Gravel Teams are opening for Hanson.
For the record, when we talk about our producers not unionizing, it's way different than the way that Jenk.
to be clear.
Yeah, it's unions are just such a thing, right? Because like we were having this debate with a knucklehead on Twitter this week with like they were like trying to clown us about the way that unions work, and it's like the way that what they were talking about is like only the way that the IWW works, and like I have nothing but respect for the IWW, to be clear, but like that kind of brute forcing a union, like you can't pretend that that's just gonna work most workplaces.
No, I mean that's gonna work with people that have the same left wing politics that you do, right? But for like most people who are not like professed socialists or Marxists, right? Just everyday people. I mean, the approach has to be a little bit more intimate. It's more on a personal level, meeting people where they're at, as I always say. So yeah.
So I have a take, and hopefully the internet doesn't chew it up.
But get canceled.
I know. So as I moved, one of the people that helped me move was a union guy, and talked about IWW, and said one of the organizing problems with IWW is because it's, you know, consensual in that way, they aren't in the same workplace as they are organizing. So it makes it harder to organize actions and arrive at consensus because they don't all have the same material conditions. So it's also important, you know, as fine as the IWW is, to have that very close bond in terms of where your workplace is and what your relationship to your employer is. And it's hard to do that with just, we're all came together and we declared it, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah, I mean, somebody in the chat too said,
but that is
strike.
Just how that's just how it goes sometimes.
Strike. Yes.
Strike. Vote.
So what?
I'm going to post that. That's funny.
You better. So what else is going on in the news? What did y'all think about? I wanted to talk about them opening up this mummy's casket.
Wait, what? I didn't hear about this.
Yes, tell us about that.
They unsealed a mummy's casket in Egypt that had been sealed for like 5,000 years or whatever.
Holy shit!
And there's there was some talk about curses and stuff, and I'm like, first of all, isn't 2020 bad enough? Why are we risking a mummy curse?
Like a fucking plague on the world.
But second of all, I want to talk about this
literally
from an imperialism perspective more seriously.
Yeah.
What is it that allows you to rob certain cultures? What right is it?
I don't know.
Like what? I honestly don't know how these people justify this behavior sometimes when I'm looking at this shit.
The IMF.
Like this is somebody else's cultural history.
Yeah.
Said, like, we're demanding, like, because to be clear, this was like a bunch of Europeans doing this shit. Like, that we're demanding to like have access to this for historical importance or whatever. Like, why is it? And see, this is like the kind of question that I was immediately expecting. Who's robbing from who? See, this is the thing. There's once a culture has been sort of pushed out by capitalist imperialism, it is no longer even a valid target of ownership. This culture can no longer own something. It can no longer belong to somebody. These things are historical artifacts that don't belong to anyone, right? Like, what the fuck is that? Honestly.
Yeah, no, it's like Brandon is going bye for a minute. But it's definitely like just some
me for a minute.
Yeah, no, it's like it's so weird. Like you already have the concept that people can own land, right? Like that's just insane to me already, right? But okay.
Mm-hmm.
But even more insane is like cultural artifacts and like sites like from the past in which so many different like communities and cultures and types of people, right, have like passed through this or participated in, I guess, the just this historical process where it's like for the United States or like a museum, like a really big museum that's like that exists due to great philanthropy from billionaires who don't want to pay taxes and shit. Like when they get to be like, okay, we're going to take this, like we've bought it, right? That's just like so fucking insane to me, dude. Like one thing that like I found wild a couple years back was when I guess ISIS was kind of raiding like these museums like with ancient artifacts like from antiquity and shit like that. And like part of me was like, I mean, yeah, dude. Like, I mean, obviously they're taking that shit to make money, but it's like, yeah, like who owns that, right? Like, if any like country or third party actor can just come in, non-government, non-state actor can just come in and sweep them shits up, Like, what exactly is like the Smithsonian paying for, right? Like, what exact, like that's just insane to me, dude. That's like, it's like a level of like theft and like appropriation that's just endemic to capitalism, it seems, right?
Yeah. Whereas like white artifacts like the Notre Dame, that has to be protected at all costs. We're not tearing that down and putting bits of it in museums in China, right? Yeah. Like here's one of the steeples from the Notre Dame, on display in Beijing. Like why isn't that happening, right? If this is all normal.
That's so true.
That would be hilarious to see. Kenny, I feel like this show is the background for, I would say, 25% of your tweets. You just retweet things that you say that are amusing during the show, and then you're like, time to get my real clout reward for these.
They don't come easy.
Yeah, no, you gotta it's you're supposed to make the content once and then keep promoting it.
You're trying to get like me, okay?
See, I was thinking these videos, I'm gonna make them and promote them. No, I'm gonna make the tweets, promote them on these videos. Go follow my Twitter.
Vertical integration, yo.
That's correct.
Yo, but hold up. I'm gonna like ask though, like, and maybe even ask like the chat, I guess. Like, what left wing? Are there any left wing like archaeologists or like people like that who have any opinions on what we're talking about? Because that is something really interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how are especially indigenous people, like, how are they, what methods of fighting back, whether legally or, you know, extra legally, to preserve and, you know, hold on to and claim ownership of, you know, their history, right?
Yeah.
That'd be, I think David Graeber would have been tight for that, but rest in peace, man.
Yeah, I wish David Graeber was still here right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
A lot
yeah,
of
I would
people.
love to hear from some left-wing archaeologists and anthropologists about like what they think the best solution to some of this stuff is. Because to me, it seems like there's this incredible disparity in the way that we treat artifacts. I'm not even necessarily trying to say 100% that like it's wrong to dig any of these artifacts up and whatever, but
Yeah.
like where the standard is so incongruous, like I say, because if it's a white artifact, it will be preserved till the end of time. And it will not be disturbed in the same kinds of ways. But if it's not an artifact that is enshrouded in an imperialist culture and protected by that, then it's fair game.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my big issue is like
So-
I just don't understand why this double standard is completely acceptable to so many people.
Well,
So Kennedy,
I think
go ahead.
I think your double standard is rooted in just the idea of imperialism, that there are some countries that just have their sovereignty respected more than others. I mean, Egypt has been complaining about the use of their artifacts and stuff that have been hijacked and taken across the globe for years. And nobody can say that Egypt is not a country that's adult and capable of handling their own affairs or able to preserve their own history or anything like that. By the way, we're talking about mummies. It seems like they were doing a pretty good job of preservation before you got along. But yeah, so a lot of this is just a ingrained cultural disrespect for other countries, and obviously that stuff also occurs inside the European sphere, but much less so, and much less on a mass scale than what we have in comparison to stuff in Europe and the Middle East, or Europe and Asia, or Europe and Africa.
In Europe, it tends to happen to specific marginalized cultures, not like wide, like entire countries, the way it happens to Egypt.
So y'all talking about DSA Tomb Raider caucus? Let's go, yo.
Let's go. We're going to Egypt.
Let's go, dude. Oh man.
Actually, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to travel to Egypt. This is a fun New Mexico fact.
What'd you do?
New Mexico is one of the only states that has bubonic plague in it. It's like in the south part of the state, and there's like 2 cases a year, right? But Egypt periodically disallows travel from New Mexico depending on how many people have the plague.
Wait, specifically New Mexico? Yo,
Yes.
That's so insane. Like a whole country bans like a state.
They're still dealing with that generational trauma.
Well, honestly, they should. Everyone should ban all U.S. Americans from coming in their countries right now.
Yeah, I mean, none of us are allowed to go anywhere right now, but
shouldn't be. Yeah.
I think it's prejudice. You know, this is just my heritage, and just because my ancestors have the plague doesn't mean that I should be held guilty and responsible for me having the plague. And maybe there's a little plague going on, a couple of people get it a year, but I shouldn't have to feel I have to apologize to Egypt for reminding them of their past trauma. That's not right, buddy.
My grandparents didn't even have the plague personally.
Well, good.
I'm just trying to do the bit.
You want a cookie, Kennedy? You want a cookie just because your parents didn't have the plague? Your parents aren't supposed to have the plague, Kennedy. That's a bad thing.
You know what, Kennedy?
Like, my parents.
You know what, Kennedy? Back in the day.
Kennedy, are you just against plagues, or are you anti-plague? You need to wash your ass once in a while, Kennedy. You need to use some soap around your house. You can't just say, "Oh, plagues are bad," and we all accept you. You need to be a part of the solution and cleaning up in
this
there.
Is a bit, but actually, we should be asking all Americans: are you against pandemics or are you anti-pandemic?
Trump is fucking anti-life now. He's just running on straight anti-life, dude.
This motherfucker went to Walter Reed. They gave him the anti-life equation. He's been running around here like dark side.
I was thinking, bro, I was gonna make a tweet like that too. I was like, he's like on some dark side like mission right now, dude.
Yeah.
Like they are literally like imploding themselves. It's quite a sight to see. I'm not gonna lie.
This dude just saw Infinity War. He said, "My turn, bro."
What else?
He's doing his own Infinity War at his office, which maybe makes Donald Trump part of the radical left when you really think about it.
Well, I mean,
I've got to
Donald Trump.
Well, he's dead ass about to wipe out.
Yeah,
about to wipe out the chiefs of staff and like all these other military generals. Like,
if Donald Trump kills Chris Christie, that's more than any liberal in Congress has done to stop fascism, right? Like,
I was gonna say, all of Rose Twitter has been on talking about Stephen Miller, but did you take him out of the picture because Donald Trump did it? So what are you? Maybe Donald Trump is the true revolutionary here. Think about it.
It's a comrade Trump, bro.
Trump. That's right.
Praxis. Well, no, actually, we gotta commend Hope Hicks because she was the one that brought it in to everybody. So,
Comrade Hicks,
like it always takes a woman, bro. It always takes a woman.
Listen to us. We're trying to give all the credit for this leftist victory to a man when a woman did it. We're so not woke.
I know, and you all thought Maria Smart wasn't woke, but she always said that when the Hicks joined cause with the black people, that we would have true liberation. And then Hope Hicks, literally her name, she said hope for the Hicks, started coughing around, and now anyway.
Wow.
She dismantled the machine for a few days.
Y'all, isn't this all just so great? Can we just take a minute to appreciate how wild all this is?
Can we take a minute to appreciate the fact that Donald Trump doesn't want us to have health care, but then he goes to Walter Reed?
I know, dude.
100% government subsidized health care, baby.
I know, dude. And he's still gonna die. That's amazing, yeah.
Well, to be clear, they've given him the best possible medicine. They've given him the best possible care. There's no medical substitute for just being hard-headed and not listening to nobody and just being determined to cough everywhere.
But the medicine he has, though, another thing about the medicine he has is that it's like it induces like was it dexamethasone? I can't pronounce that shit. It has a side effect of mania, man. So like he's already like fucking maniacal, really, and now it's just like even worse.
He needs to do a Twitter collab with Kanye. They can trade bars back and forth with quote tweets.
Yo, he's a super poster, man. Posting through the fever, bro. I'm not gonna lie though.
Posting through it.
Poster in chief, bro.
Shouldn't he be? How long will it be till we have another poster in chief? Because Biden's obvious he doesn't have the soul of a poster. We gotta wait for.
Here's what I want to know: who's posting through it better, Kanye or Trump?
Trump.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Trump is literally about to die, and he's still just like, no, I gotta send this last one out. Send, like, you know,
Here's
where it's like.
Ye's tweets are more off the wall. Trump's just tweeting like we're all amazed that he just stays on his bullshit. Kanye is just surprising us. Kanye is pulling new rabbits out of the hat every week.
I would say Trump does too, though, because Trump, like, I would say he does too, because within 12 hours he reneged on negotiations, like for COVID relief. So, like, if you see the timeline, it's just like, dude, like you are posted through 110-degree Fahrenheit fever right now, dude. Like it's truly amazing.
I think if Trump wants to catch up though, he needs to like make a TikTok of himself just pissing on the Oval Office.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean,
Just
yo, I will say though, speaking of TikTok, Claudia Conway, Kellyanne Conway's daughter, is like killing it right now, bro.
Claudia Conway is the only real source we have inside DC.
Dead ass. Yo. Oh my god, son. Just insane.
That's
yo.
where that's where the truth is coming from, and that's just we talked about her a couple of days ago, but it is just very funny that this kid who clearly has a messed up child life, and both of her parents are just trained liars and manipulators. And I'm sure that she inherited some of that just because you get traits from your parents, but just going through all that. And also, we didn't talk about this on the show. Apparently, during one of her TikTok lives, and I didn't know that they TikTok lived, they asked her to like take off her earrings or play with them if she was in trouble. And then she like immediately did it after reading the thing. I don't know how bad it is. And also, like,
that's terrifying.
But here's the thing though. Like, is she gonna die? Like, and maybe I'm underplaying this. I don't know. How concerned should we be in like a real way for her? Because it seems like she's in a stable home. I don't assume that they're gonna like beat her with a frying pan, or else they would have done it by now. So is she in any real danger?
You know, abuse is often not like seen and not visual to people. And also too, like I mean, I don't want to speculate on the dynamics of a ghoulish family. I mean, even if they're ghoulish, you know, just for respect for a minor, I guess, you know. But I mean, if that family if Kellyanne Conway and even her husband George Conway, who's like a never Trumper but still like a ghoul, like I just feel like there's some weird dark shit going on, man. Like Kellyanne Conway is not a good person, you know. Like it's just it really is something that I think is more felt than like seen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She probably like hates her fucking family, hates her parents. Yo, shout out to her too. Like in a whole Generation Z that's like shitting on their parents right now, because I'd be doing the same goddamn thing, dude, if I was her. Dead ass.
If she was on Twitter, she would probably be subscribed to you. Think about
Bro, I should tell her to make a Twitter right now.
As soon as Kellyanne Conway is 18, we're recruiting her to Not Safe Media. That's just
nah, like yo, tell her to join DSA, bro. She could join YDSA.
No, but I will say that something that's worth noting is that rich people have special ways of abusing their children.
Yeah.
That are not like the normal ways of doing abuse, and they're not as obvious to people on the outside that they are abuse necessarily, because they don't look like abuse.
Yeah.
You know, and like this relates back to like a really old policy conversation. This is for the old heads. If anyone's watching that's been following us forever. We used to talk a lot about the fact. We used to talk a lot about the fact that you know, free college for all is good. It's good that it doesn't exclude the rich. That like Pete Buttigieg is like, we don't need to pay for rich kids to go to college, is actually shitty for people like Claudia Conway, right? Because if she wants to go to college, she needs to make at least one of her parents like slightly happy, right? Or like do something that they want. And that's like a form of control that they have over her, you know? So like they may have like a lot of forms of control over her. And part of the problem too is when you are like sort of like from like a wealthy political dynasty like that, people won't look at you and think that you need something. You know what I mean? Like everyone is going to assume that she has everything in the world that she needs, and that like everything is fine. And like you don't know what these people might be doing. Is the reality.
It seems like in the last day or two, you started writing your actual pitch to Claudia Conway, and you're like, listen, I know you've got it rough, but I'm starting a ranch in New Mexico, and you should come down here.
I didn't even care about that. I wanted to stay in DC and be a correspondent out there.
Oh, get the tea. Okay.
Yeah, get the tea.
Oh man.
She has enough clout. She has enough clout now that we'd be working for her, which brings us back all the way around to the union discussion. Like We got to get power
Claudia
at the cloud
Conway is going to
workplace
turn 18 and buy our media network.
with light. With light.
Shit, man,
And then 10 years from now, we'll be having that same conversation that Jamie and Sam were having, but we're having it with Claudia Conway, where we're like, well, you kind of exploit us, right? And and she's like, what are you talking about? And we're like, never mind. Let's just move on.
Let's just move on.
Nah, man, they're just gonna. You guys were talking about having the first poster in chief. Obama was the first Facebook president, but we're gonna have TikTok president soon, man.
Oh,
so we gotta be ready for that, yeah. We gotta be ready for that.
Okay,
Oh.
voter. Whatever you say, voters.
Oh no, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
That's terrifying.
I still say, we talked about this before. Joe Biden, you missed your chance, okay? You should have picked Okie Boomer Girl as your running mate, and then you would be winning right now.
Oh my god, that's a whole nother thing, man. There's a debate tonight. Are y'all gonna be watching that?
That's a good question. So, I'm still working on things inside my house to it, like on the background while I do more important things.
Yeah.
I'm a little interested in. I just watch all the debates because just in case something historical or something hilarious happens.
Yeah, I need to be able to see it.
These people who have just spent their whole lives just in these tightly controlled media bubbles, having to have even the slightest bit of pushback because they live in their own universe where everybody around them works for them. Everybody around them is a constituent. Like, it's aside from a few conversations with randos, at that level of power, they can basically just like get through whatever conversations they need to. So this is a good opportunity to see these people in a only 99% controlled environment instead of a 100% controlled environment.
No, Alyssa's here.
Alyssa, you watching the debate? She's muted.
That's a no.
She's yeah.
That's no.
I might watch it. I mean, I might go over to a friend's house and check it out and get wasted and laugh. But it's also just like, I mean, at some point, like for me, it really is like, who are these debates for? Like, if you don't already have your mind made up, like what will it take to change your mind? It just seems like they're entertainment, and I'm cool with that. But let's just call it entertainment, and let's not call it like a reasonable debate between two people who are accepting the same evidence and facts. Because all Pence is gonna do is be like the president is fine, and meanwhile this nigga's like dying right now, like in the West Wing. So I don't know, man.
They should have random smash cuts to Trump, just like in the White House, just going as this debate is going on. And they even changed the rules. Like Pence doesn't want the plexiglass shield between them, so they're gonna have like a panel that's clearly not gonna stop anything. It looks
they
so
do
ridiculous.
have the glass. They do have the glass though.
I know, but it's like one small thing of glass. Like it's not. Yeah, it's not like they're both in separate booths or anything like that.
Yeah, it's maybe if ventilation and air pressure weren't real.
Yeah, like the air
blast
go around
particles
the glass
all night, bro. She's gonna be bombarded with particles, and she's like, just get it hit, dude.
Like, is Pence's secret directive to just infect everyone? Is that really what they're doing?
Yo, they're an homicidal party. If they're an homicidal death cult, like their number one goal, they know they can't win. So at this point, it's just kill as many of our political opponents as possible, and like just remove everyone. We're gonna have a new Republican Party in like 2 years where they're all dead.
Yeah, I used to think that saying the Republican Party was a death cult was like a slight exaggeration, not like a big one, but like a slight, just like we're playing, no, they're just they are a death cult. That's that. If this COVID situation has proven anything, they are a death cult. And in fact, like they even are getting into bizarre ancestry worship, as evidenced by Herman Cain's Twitter account.
Bro,
yeah.
Like what? That's another thing too, right? Like I've worked on political campaigns. I've worked for some of these ghouls. Like how deranged do you have to be
like as a staffer, like how
To
just
hang on to
obsessed-
that.
Yeah, how obsessed with, and it's like everybody is laughing at you, and it's also like you are actively doing harm by posting from this man's grave when he died of COVID. It's like, are they still getting paid for it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they have to be. I mean, they
money
have
in
to
it,
be.
yeah.
But why?
All of it.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, if
All
somebody
of it
paid
is-
me $100,000 a year to just sit back and post on Herman Cain's account,
I mean,
Well,
I
that's
guess,
a lot of money, but
I mean,
With
I guess.
$100,000, our bar
But
is so low, y'all.
but okay, but
Yeah.
if it was
I
if
mean, I
it
could
was
use 100,000 right now.
yeah, I don't want to disrespect.
$100,000. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to disrespect the dead, but $10,000 is
Fuck him.
$10,000.
Fuck him, dude. Fuck him. Yo, I mean, like, it'd be different if this was like Gravel Institute project, where
Okay.
I could be like, all right, the Kane, what do they call themselves? The Kane Gang?
The Kane Gang, they're a gang,
Which is
bro.
like also like a black man, like rise
Yeah.
with Chain Gang. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just like, that shit is just not very good, but okay.
It's like co-opted to like the nth degree now too, though, because it's so unoriginal in that it's like, okay, so we have what you just brought up, and then the Yang Gang. I'm just like, y'all can't help yourselves. They're like, okay, we don't even need to do anything. We're just gonna go steal things from other people.
Nah, we used to be. I
That's
see you
the
wearing
new
your.
slogan.
I see you
Oh,
wearing
yeah.
your Bernie shirt, yo. Yeah,
That's
we
my
Bernie
Kennedy.
Bros, yo.
I'm also
Yeah.
wearing a
Kennedy,
political shirt.
Oh god.
Hey. Critical support for the comrade Garfield. Yeah.
Woo, woo, woo. That's
Kennedy,
funny.
get
I
you
know.
and me off of the screen for like 30 seconds so that they can be matching and they can talk for 30 seconds. Okay. go
Oh
ahead.
my god. Yeah.
We only have 30 seconds.
We have 30
Some
seconds.
bullshit, Brandon. No,
I will
but
say. Go ahead. You first.
no, you got this. I was gonna say something stupid.
No, I was gonna say. I will say that my man Bernie, I love you, and I'm not mad at you, but at the same time, they are having you sacrifice your life for a man who doesn't even who goes over and over again, says that like, yo, I beat the socialists. How crazy is that, Alyssa?
Oh,
Okay, it's over. It's over.
I was just watching-
It's over. No more Bernie
Give
talk.
over.
Give him 15 more to respond.
It's so funny. It's so funny that as like true socialists, they spent the half the time going, "Oh, after you." No,
After
after
you.
you.
Like,
Oh,
you guys,
as a
we're
man,
like,
I
we're like,
still
you guys
took the
have
time,
30
though.
seconds, and you guys are like, do you want to speak?
Should I go or should I go?
Maybe, should you go?
I just want to make sure everybody feels heard. God damn it.
Thank you. My time is up.
But I did want to say too, like, oh man, the fucking Biden youth panel, you guys.
There's a Biden youth panel.
There was one. Get that vote tag off this shit.
I'm just gonna keep putting it up. No one's gonna know. People who watch this stream today, we've been like making pro-Trump jokes. We've been making pro-Biden jokes.
Nobody
been
knows
making
what we believe in.
anarchist jokes. No one knows what to believe in today.
And what does the dolphin stand for? Nobody knows.
Oh, and
Salvation.
now we're having Bernie stand hours.
Alyssa, you need to add the dolphin.
Just
to
want to
your
highlight this part. You know.
Okay,
'Cause
yeah.
It's a white shirt. and
Alyssa,
it's
you got the
not covered
dolphin
in
on
stains.
Twitter yet?
No, okay, but because I didn't want to just be like, oh, all my friends have a dolphin. I don't know why.
That's what you
That's
have
the
to do.
point. That's the goal. Yeah.
We're gonna take over Rose.
We're
Twitter,
taking
man.
over Rose
Okay.
Twitter with
At the-
dolphins.
About damn time though. I'm so fucking sick
Yo,
of
me too.
motherfuckers spouting shit when they've got like a rose in their thing and they're like, actually, did you know? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll stop.
yeah.
I can rant about that shit for hours, but like the
Actually,
video-
you're bad to women because I'm in DSA and I know that sex work is all inherently exploitative. That's my favorite Rose Twitter person.
There's it's a
the
very
DSA
broad
fucks my shit up.
it's a very broad
It's a very big
spectrum.
tent.
Yeah, it's a very big tent. I mean I'm talking about the emoji big tent. Like there's a big emoji tent with the rose emoji. So
I'm gonna change it right now.
yeah. Oh shit.
Oh shit!
The power keeps growing around here. It's incredible. I love it.
I wonder how many people are gonna ask me.
Exactly.
Nobody talks to me anymore on Twitter. I don't know why I even started that sentence.
I mean,
That's because they've given up. You have like 600 notifications.
Yo, I think I might get banned, yo.
What you
I
do?
just typed in dolphin. Does that count if I just have the words?
just have
Yo,
the word dolphin.
Speaking of Twitter, I might get banned, man.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I know what you did.
I made a joke because somebody was like, "Would you marry your somebody was like, would you marry your at or your next at or whatever?" I guess that's the
Yeah.
next person, your second mentions. And this person was like, Posada's Trap God, Hell's yeah, mixed babies. And I replied, "Together we will destroy the white race." So I'm
Oh,
hoping that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I
think
thought it was
so.
going to be a Donald Trump joke, but I endorse that.
I mean, actually, they're overlooking a lot of shit, so I might be okay. And it was a joke. It was parody. I'm not an advocate of the Mayo side. Parody.
We are advocates of forced miscegnation.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can whole episode.
It's making the first law of a socialist, United Socialist
Yeah.
Republic.
Fucking, I got
Here-
this.
We're gonna arrange everybody. It's gonna be. I'm just parodying a J-Reg video now, but it's gonna be like Sudoku. If you're white, you can't be near another white person. We gotta move you to a different block.
You're
know?
breaking that rule with our stream right now.
Here we go. Okay, hold on.
I don't want to sit next to you, Kennedy.
Yeah, this is better. This is better.
Oh, okay.
This is more woke.
Dude, it is more woke, actually. Will Brandon, who's more disadvantaged between you and I? I guess me, because I wear glasses, so like physically speaking.
Yeah.
I am second, and then
That's
and
right.
then
That's fair.
Hey, wait, I have prescription glasses.
yeah,
Wait,
but you ain't wearing them though.
Oh, now you're
Garfield
matching
shirt.
Garfield. You've got Garfield green. You got a Garfield shirt. Oh, word. Okay. Wow.
these are. I don't have
Oh
my
my
prescription
God.
regular glasses handy, but these are prescription.
Alyssa, stop that. When you run for office, that will be the picture that they use for the Aqua
Yeah, I'm
ads.
screen
Check
I'm
that out.
screen capping you right now.
This is live.
Right now.
No, Alyssa.
Yes,
Cringe.
Brandon. Yes.
Cringe.
I'm a parent. I'm allowed to do these things.
That's
My kids
true.
are funny, okay? Who's on top?
Alyssa Vera wants to take your health care as she thinks she's Superman.
Alyssa, why don't you want people to have their insurance that they work so hard for?
Because I fucking hate them. Oh,
Yes,
No.
let's be honest socialists today, okay? Normally we lie and we pretend that we care about other people. Today we're going to be honest. We just don't want you to have insurance because we're mean.
Yep.
Right.
That's it.
I think it should
It's
be
not,
removed.
because,
removed.
it's not because universal health care is better.
No.
Zoom-based power dynamics. Oh.
if your Zoom calls listen, quarantine time, the internet's the only thing that's real now. So if your Zoom calls aren't woke, coming for your ass.
We're gonna have woke mixed clout relationships that will also be mandatory. If you
Yeah.
have clout, the
Oh,
government
I
will
don't.
assign you to somebody with.
No,
I don't
you gotta- you gotta go with somebody with
I
no
don't know.
clout.
I don't know about that. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, Aaron. Aaron, your next girlfriend's got to have like 74 followers
I'm
and
worried.
That's
a profile picture of Stalin
I can't.
with hearts
I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
surround.
I can't.
An
I can't
anime.
surround myself. With
Alyssa's changing her profile picture right now.
I'm sorry. As a super poster, as the master
Mhm.
race, I just cannot.
Mhm. Yeah.
I can't mingle with such low level content filth.
Yeah.
It's just-
it could
Yeah.
pollute your genetics. What if
It really can.
what if your kids
It's not DNA, it's
you
USA.
married a non-poster?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, y'all. I have to preserve the posting grace. You know, me
Yeah,
and Trump.
you-
That's one thing that we both agree on.
I don't know what
Y'all-
this episode is, but this is like our best episode we've done in weeks, I swear.
Guys, tonight-
We're just shit posting like, but live though. There's, like,
It's live ship. This is just our Twitter feeds, but live. What's happening today?
We gotta seize the means of clout production. You see how these guys starting to stand. these two turned into Sam Cedar as soon as we talked about reappropriating the clout. They were like, they started sounding like Elizabeth Warren. Well, you know, there are market concerns that could be.
Well, I mean, I think
We need a 10-year plan to redistribute
10-year
clout. We
plan
can't just give clout away all at once, okay?
Hey, bro, I'm trying to be a correspondent majority report. I can't say nothing bad about Sam, yo. Chill out.
That's true.
No,
Okay.
we
Well,
actually,
we're-
we're just shit posting today. Sam is literally like one of our heroes.
Word, I love Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been bumming clout from them for the last month or so. So
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
that.
That Majority Report followed us.
I
which was, like,
I lost a bunch of fucking
so
followers.
exciting.
Oh yeah, because the
Over-
weird shit that was
Purge.
going on the other
Yeah.
day, probably.
I maybe I was involved with something, but I've been moving, so like I haven't really been 1,000% paying attention.
They were definitely
Oh,
playing
like-
around one day because they were also removing likes from our tweets off of our show account.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yo, what happened to Metro Atlanta DSA, man?
Okay, so there's a theory that this was my fault, but I don't know if I believe the theory.
Ooh, it's not your fault, Bray.
I posted after this Trump thing happened that if a serial killer is chasing you through the house and they trip up over the knife and they you don't have to it's weird that the victim has to turn around and like comfort this person who harmed themselves while in the act of threatening you. But I don't think that we got picked for that. I think it was like a random technical thing, and also like maybe it was something with the security, because right now we're just going through our authentication. They didn't really suspend us. They've just like blew the whistle on us, and they're making us jump through that hoop.
Wait, you
And
mean
because-
they trying to get a blue check? Is that what you mean?
No, they're trying to make us authenticate our number and stuff like that. in order to
Oh,
get back
okay,
into the
okay,
account.
understood.
Which is kind of a pain in the ass when it's an organization, and it's
Yeah.
also like democratically held. So like 3 different people have held the number over the last couple years. So we're just
Yeah.
figuring that out, and I'm sure we'll be back posting fire tweets as soon
I
as
hope so.
possible.
I hope so.
Do y'all
I'm
wanna?
surprised my Twitter didn't get banned this week, to be honest.
Yeah, you've been learning from Aaron, because you've been like the toxic left this week. Just nasty takes over
The
and over
intolerant
again.
left. The intolerant left, sir.
When this show started, you were just such a sweet human being, and now just time has just made you bitter and angry at the system. It's really incredible.
I feel personally attacked.
Yeah, Liz is like, is Brandon talking to Kennedy or?
Oh, I got I got so petty in the. Oh, I forgot we're live. Well, I'm gonna embrace it. I was so fucking petty, and I got asked to be on the Bernie Youth platform thing, and it's 2 months away. 2 months away from November. Not even 2 months now. I don't know. I can't count. I'm not a mathematician. But they're like,
Look,
first thing
Right.
they say, we don't have very much impact on policy. We don't have a direct line to Biden, so we can't put any pressure on that. And I'm like, so like everything that we've been saying we think is wrong. Why we're not gonna just sell our souls to this creepy old man?
Is this just for some people?
Yes.
And I mean
for
this
the,
is a
like,
negative. I mean this is in a negative way, but it just also is what it is. Some people just want the extra title in their on Twitter.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
I mean that's what it felt like. And then I'm not gonna slam anybody, but I will say that like I ended up changing my profile picture to like Howie Hawkins and then to Mark Charles and then put it on like how Aaron has this right now. And then just sat out in the Zoom afterwards. And then I raised my hand and I told him, I was like, it feels
Go
a
ahead.
little sorry. But I'm like,
No,
it
no,
feels
Sorry.
it feels a little bullshit that you guys are hitting us up now. The like Bernie super captains asking us, and all it was like a grab for our maneuvers. And I'm like, y'all, it's way too fucking late to try and like create your own students for Biden, which like the election's in less than fucking what? It's
Did
like
they-
less than a
Just-
quarter away.
Just logistically
Alyssa-
speaking, like they needed to get in touch with y'all organizers like months and months ago. Just logistically speaking.
Yes, not even morally.
Yes.
So
No.
okay.
So I asked him
speaking
about
of,
Tara Reid.
wait, all right. So you were being all right. I see this is a contest for the three of you to be as the toxic left as possible, and you're doing toxic left show and tell. Wait, I want to before you even get into
Brandon, I
the
can't believe you're
morals
even
of-
calling us out when you did the darkest, most like blue-pilled post yesterday.
I thought that post was funny, but wait, I want to come back to this because this is
Yes.
just sort of a thing. Alyssa, just from a moral and tactical perspective, were you offered compensation?
Oh no, absolutely not. No, I
That's the
literally
problem.
What a joke.
went there for I did it because a person that I hold very near and dear to my heart, who worked very, very fastidiously for the Bernie campaign, asked me if I would go on, and at first I was like, is it public? Because of and then she was like, no, but they want to hear what you guys have to say, and they really want to know. And then again, it was just I said in the meeting, I was like, this feels like it's way too late, and it feels super disingenuous, and it's reaffirmed literally every concern and reason why I am not voting for Biden.
Also,
No
this is
shame
like,
to anybody else.
literally, they've got money out the asshole. They will pay someone to like sit down and talk with Biden one time who's like a cloudy consultant. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, come on,
I've-
like, don't reach out to these organizers and be like, oh, will you for free fucking do all this shit? When it's like this, come on. Like, it,
Go ahead.
no, like you could get away with that if you're like a city councilor, right? But like if you're the fucking running for the president, like you've got millions and millions of dollars you're throwing at this shit. You can give Alyssa fucking $10,000 or $5,000 or even just a fucking just
Fucking
buy her
20.
dinner one night,
20.
something. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, god
Aaron,
damn.
you can attest to this because, as you said, we live semi near. They're sending sheets of paper that are like the size of your chest for voting, like candidates. Like
I have a
here's
small
Joe
tab.
Biden's picture. Here's John Ossoff.
Yeah.
You can get like they're basically sending Funko Pops in the mail. They're sending everything. They probably ask you to vote 5 or 6 times. All that stuff is expensive. So the idea that like a real human being, I want to just also add, I'm doing I'm not like part of the team, but like I'm in DSA and we're doing stuff for Vincent Fort, and some people that are like in the Fort circle like are asking me about conditions and things that are on the ground. And I said, well, you know, as you're revving up to make phone calls and have everybody in your district, you know, pay some kids at Georgia Tech, give them a beer, give them some beer, a 6-pack of beer and a couple of pizzas, and you know, put them in a nice clean room and let them rock. And you cite them a gift card on the way out, you know, whatever. And that was seen as like, I mean, yeah, let's be aggressive, you know. This idea that you're a national campaign that's running for the presidency of the United States, and even if they're not a big part of your electoral strategy, okay, fine. But you do know that they're competent enough to like do the basic things that all campaigns need. You're not like doing anything at all to impress those people as you are asking for their services, or at least making some sort of good faith bid. You're just like, hey, we found you here at the bottom of our Rolodex. 21 days out. Can you come do some free work for us? Why the hell would anybody say yes to that?
I feel like they're literally asking on bad terms so that they can blame us, right? Like they're just building more evidence to their case of like, oh, the burners wouldn't do blah blah blah, like fucking pay us, you
That's
assholes.
Where's my
I mean-
goddamn Soros bucks? That's what I want to
Yeah.
know.
Well,
think-
listen, the Soros bucks, I will talk. There's Thayer bucks. And Kennedy, we have talked about how those are going. The fucking Next Gen America is terrible. Like, it's really bad posting. I don't know whether the money has just ordered that it be as grim and uninteresting as possible. But even if the four of us had made a deal with the devil or whatever, or just say we just sold out, you can put it however you want to put it, and they were like, hey, listen, you got to sell Biden to kids. We would get high and pound the table, and we would just, by natural virtue of having skill, we would come up with something more interesting than what those people were doing. So we're not just talking about
better ideas when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, we're not even talking about like a moral phrasing. We're just talking about just the art of it has just been bad. And Biden's Twitter account is also terrible. I guess they don't care because he's in the lead right now, but it's just awful.
Well, I mean, I think
feel
it's
like
like
we've seen this before, though. Sorry, I interrupted you.
no. I was just gonna say, I just think it's also just a function of like they how can I put it? Like they feel like people like voting is an obligation, right? So like this is why like a lot of the criticism towards Biden, especially from the left, has been like dismissed and it's been called divisive, because in the liberal mind, like you have a duty and an obligation to vote. And you hear this with people saying all the time that like, well, so many people died for your right to vote, and why wouldn't you do it? And not understanding voting as something that
First of all, they didn't die. Nobody died for our right to vote. People got killed. Nobody said, hey, there's some natural obstacle and I have to throw myself into it so that certain marginalized groups of people have to vote. No, they attempted to exercise their rights that were the same rights everybody else had, and they were killed by the state, or they were injured by the state.
Exactly. I mean,
and also
exactly.
that's
Anthony.
Yeah, and that, by the way, still exists now. It's still not easy for people to vote. You still got to drive halfway across your county. You still got one polling station that you got to drive through for 45 minutes. And then when you get there, you got to stand in line for 2.5 hours, depending on what side of town you are in. So the idea that you can't safeguard those rights at a minimum when you have power, and you're still asking for stuff like this, and still asking people to jump through those hoops. If you can't establish like those basics, then how much loyalty do you think people are going to give you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, also too, just like, again, the pure motivation for voting being that like, well, you have to do it, like, isn't enough for like working class people. It's not enough for like, people that are suffering. I mean, you have to fight for these votes. Like no one is obligated to vote for you, right? So if we're not doing it, and as you guys were saying earlier, they're gonna just they're gonna blame us either way, right? No matter what happens, So yeah.
Hey, I have something I want to do. Let's end the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's end the show, and then let's do a post show.
Yeah,
and because these people have gotten, we were thinking of wrapping this at 45 minutes in, and we're an hour and 15 minutes. People, we love our listeners. We go over and beyond all the time. Let's do the post show. I got like a couple of random things. Yeah, go do it. Make it happen.
Patreon.com/notsafe. Head on over there. And this is, remember, this is ending. I told you guys, October is the last month.
No.
Sometime this
Kennedy.
month. Or did you already end it?
Oh yeah, it's over.
It's over.
$5. Get your $5 ready. Yeah, we did that on Into the Abyss last Friday. We
told you guys.
We spent 30 seconds. So, but it's $5. But listen, the good news, the bad news is you lost your $1 opportunity. The good news is it's $5, man. It's not like it's okay. Yeah. So come hang out.
$5 gets you access to these post shows. It gets you access to a lot of other great content. Just head on over there to patreon.com/notsafe.
And on our end, it just like helps us pay for the images that we make and run the StreamYard and all that stuff that just makes the show run. Because we're not like a profitable operation or anything, but it still helps.
Yeah.
We are not capitalists.
Oh my God, we're not. Somebody was trying to explain why capitalism is good to me the other day, and I was like, "Why are you still talking to me?"
Yeah,
like during the headlight shit.
Anyway, we're not going. We're going full scan. We'll talk more. We'll continue. Yeah. All right. So we'll see you in like 5 minutes.
On the first show.
Later, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.